This is the true story of Scotty and the flying comic books. Have you ever seen a comic book fly? Now, no doubt, comic books can entertain. They can delight you. They can scare you. They can take you on wild adventures. They can make you laugh. But can they fly? Can comic books fly? Well, I can tell you, they can. And I'm about to tell you the true story of the time I saw it happen. In fact, I'm the one who made it happen. Now, this happened many years ago. In fact, so many years ago that there were no video games, there was no internet. In fact, even having a small television in your bedroom was considered a luxury. I wasn't in school that day. In fact, I was at home, in bed, with the flu. Bored, uncomfortable, nothing to do. I was unhappy. No, I was grumpy. Not in the same way that I'm sometimes grumpy now, in a grandpa sort of way, but I was grumpy. Now let me tell you about my little brother, Scotty. At the time of this incident, I was about 14. Scotty was about 8. We were the best of friends, despite our age difference. We liked the same things: baseball, card games, board games, just hanging around telling each other jokes and funny stories. And Scotty also loved comic books. He had a sizable collection, or at least for an 8-year-old in the 1960s it was a sizable collection. Not nearly as sizable as, say, his baseball card collection, or mine for that matter, but still he had maybe 100 or so comic books. Now, another thing that Scotty and I have always had in common is we love to organize things. Maybe we were born with just a touch of OCD or whatever, but we both love to put things in order, categorize and organize things. And on this awful, gloomy, wintry, flu-ridden day, while I was languishing in bed, Scotty organized his comic books. I don't know how long it took him, but it must have been at least a couple of hours. And I'm not sure how he organized them, whether it was alphabetically, or by genre, or simply the color of the cover. But he organized them very carefully and categorized them. But whatever method he used, Scotty was very proud of what he had done. So proud. So proud, in fact, that he came into my room and extended an invitation for me to come see his collection. Now, in my fog of fever and headache and body ache, they hadn't even invented NyQuil yet, I politely and respectfully declined his invitation. So Scotty, being 8 years old, repeated his invitation with a little bit more gusto. "Come look at my collection, Bill. Come on." I again politely demurred. Well, maybe not so politely, but Scotty would not let go. "Come on, Bill. Come look at my collection. Come on, come on, come on." And my polite refusals became a little less polite. "Leave me alone. Leave me alone." Now, our bedrooms were on the second floor of the house. Scotty's on one side of the house, mine on the other, with the staircase in between. This will become relevant in just a moment. Scotty kept insisting, "Come on, Bill, come on, come look at my comic book collection, come on." Finally, I threw back the covers, sat up and said, "Fine, I'll come see your stupid comic books." I walked out into the hall, and that is when I made a critical discovery. You see, I had assumed that Scotty had assembled his collection and organized it and cataloged it and carefully curated it in his room, and that he wanted me to come to his room to see the collection. But no, for whatever reason that day, Scotty had organized his comic books in a nice, neat, carefully curated stack. at the top of the stairs. On the floor at the top of the stairs. So when I spotted that nice, neat stack sitting there so invitingly, I suddenly became very evil. I approached that stack with purpose and with, I'm sure, an evil glint in my eye. And like some satanic place kicker, I launched that entire stack of comic books, Scotty's comic books, down the stairs. Those comic books flew. Even after all these years, in my mind, I can still see Superman and Batman and Archie and Beetle Bailey and who knows who else fluttering and floating and flying down the stairs. For a brief moment, it didn't register on Scotty's face what I'd done. But what happened next has haunted me to this day. Scotty, my little brother, in many ways my best friend, burst into tears. He didn't say anything, but he was crushed. And in that moment, it was revealed to me just how evil I was. And no, I didn't get punished for that. I didn't help Scotty put his comic book collection back together again. And afterwards, we never spoke of it again. Until just a couple of years ago. After all these years, I talked with Scotty, well, he's Scott now, on the phone, because we live in distant states. And I said, Scott, do you remember the day that I kicked your comic books down the stairs? I feel really bad about that, and I'm very sorry that I did that. Do you know what Scott said? He didn't remember it. It turns out he has no memory at all of this horrible incident that has haunted me for decades. And yes, to this day I regret doing it. I'm sorry I did it. I shouldn't have done it, but darn, it was fun watching those comic books fly.